Am I the asshole for deleting my friends' wedding photos in front of them?
All of them?
Oh, wow.
Now, Erica, where are you leaning?
These titles always get me
Yeah.
because that title is woof. You're an asshole.
Yeah.
But like, oh, this is such a juicy story.
I'm not really a photographer. I'm a dog groomer. I take lots of photos of dogs all day to put on my Facebook and Instagram. It's my thing, if that makes sense. A friend got married a few days ago.
This is just so insane. Like, hey, I really like the picture you took of Lassie. Can you please do our wedding photos?
A friend got married a few days ago, and wanting to save money, asked if I'd shoot it for them. I told him it's not really my forte, but he convinced me by saying he didn't care if they were perfect. They were on a shoestring budget, and I agreed to shoot it for $250, which is nothing for a 10-hour
Wow.
event.
That's a steal.
It's very cheap.
On the day of, I'm driving around following the bride as she goes from appointment to appointment before the ceremony, taking photos along the way. I shoot the ceremony itself, and during the reception, I'm shooting speeches and people mingling. Around 5, food is being served, and I was told I cannot stop to eat because I need to be photographer.
No breaks?
That's not how that works.
Oh my God.
No one wants a picture of them eating food.
In fact, they didn't even save me a spot at any table. I'm getting tired, and at this point kind of regretting doing this for next to nothing. I told the groom I need to take off for 20 minutes to get something to eat and drink. There's no open bar or anything. I can't even get water, and my 2 water bottles are long empty. He tells me I need to either be photographer or leave without pay.
Fuck this guy.
With the heat, being hungry, being generally annoyed at the circumstances, I asked if he was sure, and he said yes. So I deleted all the photos I took in front of him and took off saying I'm not his photographer anymore. If I was to be paid $250, honestly at that point, I would have paid $250 just for a glass of cold water and somewhere to sit for 5 minutes.
Oh.
Was I the asshole? They went right on their honeymoon and they've been off all of social media. But a lot of people have been posting on their wall asking about photos with 0 responses.
Wild story.
That's a juicy
Wow.
one.
Story time about how I caught my roommate with my fiance 3 days ago. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. My fiance and I have been together for 3 years. He took me on a trip last January and proposed. He's been nothing but an amazing fiance. Families get along super well. My family loves him and he's so kind and gracious to them. On the other hand, my roommate is terrible. He claims to be a model on Instagram, but that's not really what she does. She's actually got a couple of sweet puppies, if you know what I mean. In the past, I've helped her out so much with money because she's always broke. I even loaned her $2,000 just last month to repair her car. My family hates her and they think she's super toxic. I have a soft spot for her because we know each other since high school and I know that she struggled a lot then. I'm a very kind and giving person, but she's totally taken advantage of that. Funnily enough, my fiance hated my roommate when he first met her. He thought the same thing my family did. She constantly monopolized my time, and if I was out on a date with my fiance, if she needed something, she would call me and ask me to go to the supermarket and pick up apples and stuff like that. About 2 months ago, I had to put my foot down. I'm in the process of planning my wedding with one of my best friends, and my roommate is totally stressing me out. She continues to criticize every single thing that I pick. I asked her to be one of my bridesmaids, huge mistake, and she made a fuss about the dress. She wanted a backless dress, but I didn't want that for my bridesmaids at all. I'm not trying to plan an Instagram wedding here. She was so upset about the bridesmaid dress that she actually didn't speak to me for about a week. I had to beg for her to talk to me. Eventually, she told me that she didn't feel sexy in the dress and that she really wanted something she could shine in. My best friend was with us when she told me that, so my best friend quickly corrected her and told me that the only person that needed to be shining that day was me, because I'm the bridesmaid. My roommate got super upset and told me that she didn't want my best friend coming over to our apartment anymore. Obviously, that was going to be a huge no because she was helping me plan the wedding. So instead, I had to get my fiance to come to the apartment and help me out. My fiance works a lot and he's constantly on his phone. He also travels for work a lot, so I knew that he wasn't going to be able to help me all the time. One day, I come home from work and find my fiance and my roommate sitting on the couch chatting. I actually got really happy because I thought maybe they're trying to be friends now. I wanted them to get along. My fiance and I knew that we were going to move in together right after the wedding, so I didn't have a problem with them becoming friends. Fast forward to 4 days ago. My fiance had his bachelor party and I had my bachelorette party. I had so much fun at my party. My roommate was on her best behavior, but she actually told me that she needed to leave early, which I thought was super strange. I get home from my party at around 3 a.m. I was wondering about my fiance, so I decided to call him. The phone goes directly to voicemail. A few minutes later, I get a message from one of his friends. It's a picture of my fiance and my roommate on the couch kissing. Then I get a phone call from the guy that sent me the picture. He told me he thought I needed to know what was going on. He told me that my roommate showed up to my fiance's bachelor party and that she was flirting with him the whole night. He also told me that she was pressuring my fiance to drink. My fiance has never been a big drinker, so it surprised me that he was even drinking at all. He sent me some more pictures of my fiance and my roommate. They were dancing and chatting the whole night. So I decided to show up to the bachelor party unannounced. When I walk in, there they are on the couch. Fiance was pretty inebriated and he was kind of confused too. My roommate, on the other hand, was totally fine. She jumped up from the couch and asked me what I was doing there. I asked her, "What are you doing here?" She actually laughed and told me that my fiance invited her. Part 2 is up. That's when I find my fiance and my roommate sitting on the couch together really snug. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Unfortunately, I did not find them kissing or anything. I asked my roommate what she was doing there. She laughed and told me that my fiance invited her. My fiance was totally out of it since he had been drinking. That's when I pull up my phone and show them the picture of them kissing. They both start to deny it, but I'm like, how can you deny it? I have proof. My roommate told me that she needed to leave and she literally ran away. I actually had to wait for my fiance to sober up for a few hours before he could actually talk. That's when he told me he didn't remember anything. My roommate is refusing to speak to me and told me that she doesn't want to be in the wedding anymore. And I'm like, yeah, of course you're not. The only thing she said was that my fiance came on to her. My family hates him and her now. Parents don't want me to get married, but the wedding is a week away. My fiance swears that she did something to him. He's begging me for forgiveness and I don't know what to do. Please help.
Storytime about how my brother caught me hooking up with his girlfriend. My brother started dating this girl last year and they were hanging out every day. Also around that time last year, I started to figure out my sexuality. Well, since my brother and her would hang out every single day at my house, I would see her all the time. And I started to get little feelings. Something came over me, baby. I was like, God is a woman. I just kind of came to the conclusion that I liked girls. Since she was dating my brother and they were home all the time, me and her kind of started talking too. We exchanged Snapchats, just a friendly exchange. Keep in mind that at the time, she didn't know my sexuality. Nobody did. So that night, after we exchanged Snapchats, I was Snapchatting somebody else, and I was sending them some explicit pictures. Since I recently just added my brother's girlfriend on Snapchat, her name was at the top, so I accidentally clicked on her name and sent her the explicit picture. I didn't even realize that I did that until I received a snap from her out of nowhere, and she had sent an explicit picture back, like for part 2. This is part 2 of how my brother caught me hooking up with his girlfriend. So like I said, I accidentally sent my brother's girlfriend an explicit picture on Snapchat. Not knowing that I even sent it, I received an explicit picture back from her. I said, baby, I'll really bite your titties. Stop playing with me. But after she sent me the picture, I responded with heart eyes, and then she texted me and said that she would be coming over tomorrow to hang out with my brother. I basically said, cool, I'll see you around, and then she came over the next day. So the next day came and she was at my house, but I wasn't talking to her. She was with my brother. And then she walks into my room. I was like, hey, where's Rob? We'll just call the brother that. She said she sent him to the store to get some snacks. I asked if she wanted to come chill on my bed. She agreed. And right off the bat, we started, we getting it bonking, having a good time. That's when the door swings open and there my brother is standing at my doorway. Like for part 3. This is going to be part 3 of the time my brother caught me hooking up with his girlfriend. So my brother swung my door open and there he was standing at my door watching me and his girlfriend while we were... Immediately, he was just like, oh, really? You're both fucking gross. That's when he turned around and left. Later on, we had to have like a family talk about this and I had to come out about my sexuality to my parents and it was really embarrassing. My parents were super accepting of me coming out, but my brother wasn't as accepting and I'm thinking it's mostly because of the fact that he had to find out the way that he did. Because it wasn't my sexuality itself that bothered him, it was how he found out. Later on, he told me that he walked into my room because he heard us laughing in there and he wanted to ask her what exactly she wanted from the store. He was going to ask her if she just wanted to come with, but that's what he walked in on. So my brother went ahead and broke up with his girlfriend. That's when me and her started dating and we've been dating for about 2 years now.
Am I the asshole for sleeping naked on top of the covers to teach my flatmate's girlfriend a lesson?
Oh.
So I, a 21-year-old guy...
Okay, can relate with you so far.
Live with my childhood best friend, 22, also a guy. Up until last week, things were perfect between us. However, he recently got a new girlfriend, a 23-year-old lady, and she honestly seems absolutely great, except for one thing. She seemingly has a complete aversion to knocking. She and I have quite a lot in common, and I actually like spending time with her. However, it bugs the hell out of me when she just barges into my room without knocking first. Now, she's never walked in on me doing anything untoward. However, On at least 7 separate occasions now,
seven-
she's done it first thing in the morning
Seven-
to ask if I want coffee. I sleep naked.
Oh.
Every time prior to the last one, I've been under the covers and she hasn't seen anything. I always point out that she could have, and she just giggles and says, but I didn't.
Oh my.
When she stayed over last week, in order to make my point, I intentionally slept on the top of the covers. Sure enough, she barges in at 7 a.m., begins to ask if I want coffee, and sees my you-know-what. She immediately backs out of the room and didn't speak to me for the rest of the day. My mate later pulled me aside and said I was bang out of order, accused me of deliberately exposing myself, and pointed out that I'd threatened to do it before. They're now framing this to others that I'm some sick creep who I intentionally got naked and lay in wait for her because that's how I got my rocks off. And I'm kind of seeing how it came off that way. Am I the asshole for doing this?